Hey, welcome to this week's Let's Paint. We are doing a Mongoose Publishing Chief Judge Cal model. The ultimate goal for the model is to become my sector chief, but I wanted to make sure I painted him up as the ex-Chief Judge himself. So if you're new to 2000 AD and Judge Dredd in general, you may not know this character. He was pretty early on in the series. We're talking early 80s, I think like volume 2 or 3 of the case files. Somebody will correct me in the comments. But Chief Judge Cal was an insane tyrant that made a mockery of the justice system and held power over Mega City 1 as Chief Judge for 100 days. He caused chaos throughout that time before finally being killed by the combined efforts of Judge Dredd and an Undercity dweller called Fergie, who there is a model for Fergie. I never managed to get him. I need to try and find him if I can. Personality wise, Carl was ambitious. He would take down anyone who stood in his way by any means necessary, including Judge Dredd. He misused his power when he was the captain, or I guess chief of the SJS, and through his judge assassins he was just a piece of crap to everyone around him. He was quite a camp, playful character, but ultimately completely twisted, and he was just out for himself, and the more power he got, the more insane it became. He dreamed of absolute power. He wouldn't let anybody get in his way. Judge Dredd had just come back from Mega City 2, from saving them from the weird disease that was spreading throughout the city, and he found Carl in a lot higher position than what he probably should have been if Dredd had been around. He made deadly robot assassins, so that'll be fun to work on. And after Dredd was took down, he just rose to power. He took over everyone. He tried to send Dredd to Titan. He built the massive walls that surrounded Mega City 1, and then he just started killing off people. He went alphabetically, so Aaron A. Aardvark was the famous first one to die. It's an amazing story arc if you get to read it, and I highly recommend you do. But I think that's enough of me chatting. Let's get into the painting. Right, like a lot of my models, I start off with the simple white primer. These Mongoose models were made from white metal. It is a beautiful sculpt. There probably was some cleanup I should have done, but straight away I'm going for the Gravelord Grey. We're going to get that base just covered. I need it done, I want it covered, and then we can move on to the next part. A lot of comments in the past have been like, why are you using the washes on the base? They just work. I've mentioned it plenty of times, I'm not a huge high quality painter. I like to get paint on models. I like the way the washes work. They actually give a more realistic coverage because they get a bit blotchy on the flat surfaces. Makes it look a little bit more concrete-y, in my head at least. You guys do what you gotta do to get paint on your models, and I'll do what I gotta do. Right, with the base done, it's now time to move on to the bodysuit. I'm going for Cloudburst Blue. I was tempted to go black, because obviously he was an SJS judge, but blue just made more sense. We're going to apply this all over the model. We'll probably come back in a minute once the camera's zoomed in properly. So yeah, just a nice healthy coat of this blue over everything. Going to try and avoid the stars where possible, and anything that's going to be yellow. But the cape's going to be red. We've zoomed on the hand again. This goddamn camera. But yeah, look at him. He's a great model. There's definitely some defects on him. Like his face just has a little straight line going down it where the molds didn't meet properly. But there's so much detail on him that this paint loves it. It's just finding all his recesses. It's hiding away nicely. I can't fault it at all. It is an absolute fun model to paint. If you can find it, please do find it and buy it. He came with some old Kleggs as well, made out of white metal. They're pretty heavy. They're pretty tiny compared to the Warlord Games ones. But yeah, go find him. Go buy him. Go enjoy it. Put some paint on it. Come on, people. Let's get painting more Judge Dredd. With some final splodges. That's the longest part of the video done. As you can see, all the blue's now on. I'm going to try and pick a colour that's going to be as far away from the blue as possible, just so that it has time to dry nicely. And that colour is the Crusader skin for his face. Not a lot of flesh on this model. This was a very short, easy step. But yep, just going to slap it on his face and be done with it. Next step is the iconic green, so I'm using the orc skin. I love this colour, it's so bright. I would not use it for orc skin. But for the judges' boots, belt, gloves, it is a great colour. So I'm just going to mix that up and splat it on. And we can dive on into the next section. With the bodysuit almost completely dry and the gloves now drying and the flesh drying, I'm going to use the sand golem to do his sandy blonde hair. Hair is annoying to paint. I don't know, I find it difficult for some reason. It either looks too intense or not intense enough, and I find sandy golem is a good representation of like a dirty blonde hair. And that's what he seems to have in the comics. It's probably, maybe he was more blonde, but I prefer this dirtier blonde kind of colour. And now we move on to my favourite colour. This pot of paint is draining quickly because I just love using it so much. Slaughter Red. It's bold, it's bright. Ooh, it's going to make his cape look great. And whilst I'm filling in this cape, just gonna say I'm 70 followers, 70 away from 1,000. If you can like, subscribe, give me some love, share with your friends, whatever you gotta do. Let's get me over that 1,000 mark, and then all I have to worry about is the watch time. But yeah, these Judge Dredd videos have really like gone down well. I'm really happy to see that there's definitely a group of you out there that love watching them and love commenting, and I want you to keep doing that. And I just want to keep building the community around it. I want to see more Judge Dredd appearing on the Warlord Games website. I want to see it more in the feeds. I want everyone to enjoy this game. It is a good game to play. It's quick, it's easy. You can make your own little part of the world like I'm doing. You're not restricted to just doing what it says in the book. You could make your own characters. You don't even have to have judges in it. You could just have some quick playing, build a gang, fight another gang, job done. Didn't like it, build a new gang. It's just fun. It's quick, it's deadly. I'm going to try and get more battle reports up. I just got to try and work that one out more. They're very time consuming. Now, as a few of you regulars know, there's not a lot of free time at the moment for me. But yeah, look at that. With this red cape, he is popping. At this stage, I realised I've got to let him fully dry. I'm going to be using yellow soon. I can't have that messing up and bleeding into the colours, or getting the other colours to bleed into the yellow. So I really have to let this dry up. Right, hopefully my lights have done the trick and dried it up, and I've grabbed the Zealot yellow. I don't use metallic paints. I'm trying not to. Maybe if Army Painter want to send me some, I might try it. But ultimately, I don't like metallic on these models. I don't know if it's because in my head it's their comic book characters. I just want them to look punchy and bold, and I don't think metallic does that for me. I've seen some amazing examples on Facebook of people using metallic paints, and they do look great. But I don't know, there's something about looking at the tabletop and having not grim dark, but instead having good old bright comic book fun just really appeals to me, and I think that's why I'm not using metallics. So I'm going to slap this on. Look at it going into the shoulder pads. It just picks out those shadows so well. I am going to run out of yellow and red. They are the two colours that are getting hammered through. Not just because of the Judges project. I'm just using them on everything. My Necrons use that red. I'm trying to do a Lamenter scheme and some Imperial Fists, so the Zealot yellow is just taking a hiding. I hope the new versions of these speed paints haven't changed that yellow too much. I haven't picked them up yet. I'm going to wait a while because I've got plenty of speed paint for now. But let me know if you got the new paint set. Pretty interested to see how they look and if they've changed the base colours too much. But yeah, look at this. He is pretty much tabletop ready at this stage. Let me just finish up the bits and we'll be right back to look at the model. And there you go. He is at a base level that I'd be happy to start using him on tabletop. Obviously got to clean up the base, and there's some areas that are peeking through that the speed paint didn't quite catch on. Maybe I want to clean up his red cloak just a little bit to get rid of some of the blotchiness. But I hope you enjoyed. Here's some pretty photo or two, depending on how generous I'm feeling. Remember to hit that like, subscribe, check out the community page where he's going to have his RPG stats for Sector Chief of 102, and I will see you next time. Cheers for watching.